So tonight we are going to be doing a very small and basic overview of something called Tartaria Hypothesis. Now we're going to be taking a look at this guy, specifically this guy, my lunch break, and I love his videos to death. He's very entertaining, much more entertaining than some of the people propagating this stuff are. But ultimately, he's wrong, as is the entire idea of Tartaria to begin with. We're going to be looking at a specific one of his videos tonight, and I don't know if I'll be able to find it here, but I have it downloaded. So we're going to watch this. It's called All Money is Brand New. We're going to watch it, and then we're going to address what is actually going on. Huh, I can't hear that. Can you guys hear that? I don't know. There's no way of knowing if you can hear this video or not. So, I guess we're not going to watch it this way. I guess we're not going to do that. We're going to just go here. And we're going to watch it from here.
So why use Grammarly over ChatGPT? Well, Grammarly offers expert writing suggestions, but
So we know this group began in 1717. We know that all of these inventions, the car, the train, the plane, all of it, came within the last 200 years. We know that these great fires all over the world happened in the 1800s and took basically nobody's life. We know that the population spiked around the 1800s from basically nobody to billions of people in just the last 200 years, where we are starting to pin the start date of our current timeline down. Because today, we're taking this research a step further. Today, we are looking into the money. On April 2nd, 1792, the US Congress passed the Mint Act, which was the beginning of the dollar. It was also the first country in the world to adopt the decimal system for currency. And now when we go over to the UK and see that they also started to use the British pound in 1707, making it the official currency of the UK, when England and Scotland united to form a single country. Even China making a brand new currency in 1948. This new currency was introduced in 1948, taking over the previous currency, which was introduced in 1889. All of these currencies, all starting within the last 300 years, worldwide, where we can go to Russia and see that their currency also begins in 1704. So apparently, in the 1600s, nobody had any money, and yet we are told that they were knocking out palaces all over the world. I think we're seeing that our timeline really began right around 1700. I think this is when all of the structural things, like governments, banks, the foundation of our civilization, I think this is when it all began. And this is all based on what we're being told, the dates that they provide us, the information that we are given using their data. So we have the top 10 banks in the world based on market cap, with JP Morgan at number 1, with a start date of 1871. Bank of America, starting in 1922. Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, started in 1984. Now we have shown that so much has started within the last 300 years. Everything that we have today that is a part of our civilization has been introduced within the last 300 years. And at the exact same time, right when we get the USA, right when we get these banks, these currencies, right when all this happens, this is the exact point in time that our civilization sees a massive spike in population. At no other point in time have humans repopulated at this rate of 66% increase every 69 years. Billions of people at a rapid pace. According to the mainstream narrative, we are told that we're at our peak right now. We are the most advanced civilization ever. We have the most technology. We have the most amount of people. When this is simply not true, in my opinion. I believe that we have been given all of this technology back. I've said this before, but it is so true. I believe that our civilization is as advanced as we're allowed to be. We see these inventions just flying at us in the 1800s. Cars, phones, TV.
To clarify on that part, I believe more or less the same thing. I believe that we are at a point where those in power are going to force our technology to completely stagnate soon, if not take it totally away from us and force us, we the people, back into essentially feudalism while they live in a technocracy. I do believe that. Let's move on.
These, electricity, planes, you name it. When you're in charge of controlling an entire civilization, 300 years is nothing. To us, the 1800s were a long time ago. But in reality, this is nothing. We are being told that AI is a brand new thing, when it has, in my opinion, been here a very long time. And if we're being shown AI, could you imagine what else is not being shown to us? Thinking logically and using the information that we're provided, in my opinion, we are pinning this narrative down. We are finding our civilization's beginning point. And the more people that see this, the more people that understand this information, the more people that we have researching and looking for the truth, the probability of us finding the truth about our past becomes more and more eminent. All of this explains why we have buildings sitting in all of our cities and most of our towns that don't fit into our timeline. They don't look anything like...
Except they do. Except they 100% do, and the construction of this is explained to us, like, on a massive scale. And if you don't want to buy into the official narrative, you can find the proof of this being built by Europeans yourself.
Like the way we build today. And the only way to explain it logically is that an advanced civilization was here before us that fully understood how to create massive palaces. And it was a civilization that was worldwide. We see these cathedrals and basilicas in every single continent. It's not like it was just limited to a single location. This was a worldwide understanding, and something massive happened to them. And right around 1700, our civilization began occupying this land, with their work looking us straight in the face. Welcome to episode 65 of My Lunch Break. I hope you're all having a great day, and if you're new, welcome. And I want to thank all of our sponsors over on Patreon. Thank you to FlatEarthDave.com. You can check out his app. I'll put the link in the description, and you can use my referral code, MLB. He also has My Lunch Break on the homeschool section of the app, which is really cool. Thank you to Rebecca Kay, Don Gaston, Christopher Arietta, The Lady Lacey Show, David and Sherry Ferguson, Edwin Johnson, Chuck Templeton, Joy Lee, PNR, Stephanie Nolan, The Burlesons, Suez KC, Dan Woodall, Dale, DJ Clicktrack, Edward, KH Bonner. You guys are all awesome and helping this channel out a lot. In episode 64, we were looking into Budapest, and we found this character that was building palaces at 23 years old, winning contests for massive parliament buildings, where Budapest had so many master palace architects that they didn't even need to use the winner's design. Mr. Hausman was pinned to a lot of buildings, like we have shown. But we need to officially close the book on this guy. We have covered the New York Palace in Budapest, which is now a 185-room palace hotel and cafe. They tell us that this building opened up in 1894 as the headquarters for the New York Life Insurance Company, where life insurance is yet another thing that starts right up in 1706. The first company to ever offer life insurance was founded in London, 1706. 1 year.
That's not weird at all. That's falls in line with the official narrative, like, vastly so. I mean, I don't believe all of the official narrative either, but if you're going to use the fact that life insurance and modern medicine didn't exist until recently, you're kind of making yourself look dumb.
Here, before the British pound became the official currency of the UK. At this point, it is becoming incredibly evident that something massive happened at this point in time. It's just one thing after the next. And if all of this wasn't true, then the mainstream narrative would have given us
Something massive did happen at that point in time. Modern medicine and our modern understanding of how to, I don't know, keep newborn babies alive long enough to become an infant and then a toddler and then a child, and to, keep that child healthy enough to become an adult. The boom of the human population in the 17, 18, 1900s is not weird at all. And if you would open a history book, you would understand why.
Something major that was created in the 1500s by now. A single company from the 1400s. You would think that there would be some sort of progression over time, that something would still be here from the 1500s. It's not mathematically probable that every single invention, all the money, billions of people, all of it, comes in a matter of 300 years. And before this, basically nobody rode around on donkeys and lived by candlelight, writing with duck feathers, yet knocked out massive castles and basilicas. It doesn't add up at all. Everything was given back to us.
One thing these people do is they ignore the Industrial Revolution completely, except for when it benefits their narrative. They ignore the fact that we had steam-powered cranes, steam-powered buggies, steam-powered carts. They ignore the fact that a horse can literally move buildings. Like horses, a bunch of horses, they use horses today to move homes. And not just your flimsy, light manufactured homes either.
Starting around this date of 1700, where in my opinion, they were laying the groundwork, the foundation of our new civilization, and our new civilization was being formed. And then after it was all situated,
They were. It's called the Renaissance.
they had control over all the major things that a controller would want to be in control of. Governments and laws, financial institutions, insurance companies, taxes, and the rest. After this was done, the okay was given to start repopulating this place again. And 300 years later, here we all are. Now, before we take this research to the next level, let's take a minute and thank all of our badge members, all of our Patreons, and every single subscriber. You are all awesome. Nation does. When we have nothing going on before the 1700s, and then just takes off, I think we have located the beginning point of our current civilization, based on math and information that they have provided us, where there's nothing, and out of nowhere in 1700, everything is created, and billions of people just come out of nowhere. Inventions all over the place, with wars to confuse people, demoralize the ones involved, and destroy massive cities that give it all away, where, according to the data provided, people reproduce at basically 66% growth every 69 years. And this is documented.
Now, I'm with you, man, I'm with you. That numerology is certainly weird. That numerology is certainly Masonic. But, as much as I don't believe in coincidence, some things are coincidence. We also, as a few people have pointed out, we don't actually know, that there are 7.8 billion people on Earth. They could just be lying to us. They could be lying to us about that hardcore to make us, scared of the idea of overpopulation, which Occam's razor, that stands to reason to me. We feel overcrowded because we live in the big city. Or at least I live in one of the bigger cities in my state. I don't know about you.
So what was going on in the 1200s? Well, according to the mainstream narrative, everybody stayed away from each other. Nobody wanted kids, apparently. For hundreds and thousands of years,
That's not what history books say at all, by the way. This guy's just made that up.
Population was basically nobody. And then the 1700s hit, and all of a sudden, humans want to repopulate at a rate that's never been seen before. And it's not even close. Where it goes from nobody to billions of people in just a few hundred years. When we know.
And again, we don't actually know. Like, I mean, I'm sure they're not lying to us about the fact that there are billions of people on Earth, but we don't know that there's 8 billion human beings on Earth today. That could very well just be a lie. You will never see for yourself, and I'm talking to you, the audience, as well. You will never see 8 billion people in your entire lifetime. That's not statistically possible. That's not mathematically possible. Don't assume you know the exact numbers of the human population. We already know, as Americans, it's well documented that, for example, China is lying about there being 3, 4, I think they say there's 4 billion of them. There's 4 billion Chinese citizens, and we know that's a lie. We know that's a lie just based on censuses.
That this is the rate in which humans repopulate, and they know this as well. And when you wipe the population out, humans will repopulate at this rate yet again. And through the first 64 episodes, we have so many different things that show that this is the case, basically proving that there have been previous civilizations. And at this point, it wouldn't
He hasn't proved that at all.
be shocking at all if it was over 100 billion people and they were extremely advanced, a community that can't see until the savior Benjamin comes around, where 63.7% of people need glasses today. And I'm just going to take a guess and say that the 1200s
Maybe we all need glasses today because we all sit on our ass and stare at screens all day, every single day. Have you thought about that before? Probably not.
people didn't have 20/20 vision either, meaning that they also needed glasses, but we were told they didn't have them. And they also didn't have a light bulb. So no lights, no glasses. Could you imagine this group of people in the 1200s, where we are told that they built
Jeez, using a picture of the fucking Reichstag? Is that what that is? That's what that looks like to me. Don't do that. To prove your fucking theory.
Buddha Castle, stumbling around at night with no glasses and no lights, yet getting palaces done no problem at all, and not a single mistake anywhere.
Awesome. Like, this is a beautiful image. This is beautiful, but like a few of the ones you showed before, just before this, were literally drawings that people made. You can't use that to be like, oh, there was an advanced civilization. That's a drawing, bro. You don't even know that existed in the way you're being shown.
100 feet in the air, perfectly put together by people that can't see. A community that's supposed.
Why is he so hell-bent on claiming that people before the 1800s, the 1700s or whatever he said, why is he so hell-bent on just claiming that nobody could see anything? Like, the whole human population just couldn't fucking see?
Supposedly didn't even create the pencil for another 500 years. But Buddha castles are no problem at all, where in the future, we can even show that the oldest prison in the USA was built in 1720, where you might say, yeah.
Wow. When did when did Europeans start colonizing the United States? Oh, well, it was like literally like maybe 60 years before this. Wow, what a fucking surprise that the first prison in the United States was built in 1720. Nobody is surprised by that information, at least nobody who actually understands history.
That's because the USA was formed in 1776. And then we go over to England, and the first state prison in England was the Millbank Prison, established in 1816. And
That's not actually true, by the way. Like, maybe the first, like, modern, institutionalized state prison, in the sense we think of them now, they were imprisoning people in the Tower of London for literally 1,000 years before this, if not more.
8 years later, in 1824, 54 other prisons had formed and adopted this system. And we will have an episode fully dedicated to this in the very near future.
And you just pointed out that, like, the population of Earth was a massive amount smaller than it is today. They didn't need a lot of complex federal sponsored prisons back then if the human population was smaller. There was a lot less random individualized criminals in the world. Of course they didn't need prisons.
I found some other things that I thought you all might enjoy. So let's start the bonus. The St. Paul St. Louis, which is a church located in Paris, France, with construction beginning in 1627. Beginning in 1627. 300...
A front door built for giants. Or, and hear me out, you're gonna think I'm crazy, the door is so big because it's a fucking church, and they need to let in large amounts of crowd. A large amount of people need to be walking through this at the same time, because if you've, ever gone to elementary school, you would know that human beings are complete ass at staying in a consistent single file line. In any situation, people just don't do it. You'll have, even on a small scale, you'll have two little boys that want to stand next to each other in what's supposed to be a single file line so they can talk, right?
And 97 years ago, in a time period that we have shown, according to the mainstream narrative, had just a little over no people, yet able to knock out the
Just a little over no people. You are being so intellectually dishonest, it's actually gonna piss me off, dog.
Buddha Castle and massive palaces. It was the
Stop using fucking drawings to prove, quote unquote, your argument. This is a drawing. This is a fucking drawing, bro. And again, you're pointing out this is an era where they had industrial revolution technology, or at least the beginnings of it. They weren't building with this primarily.
booming 1600s. Before,
Not to mention the building you're showing, and you can prove this yourself, this is not stone. This is not masonry. This is made out of fucking clay. This is made out of codestone, a type of clay that hardens and becomes a pretty realistic version of stone masonry. But it's not actual stone. I promise. I promise.
all currencies. They just decided they would just go trade a donkey or two for some limestone. They would give the architect a
This isn't made of limestone. And again, you don't even know that it looked like this in whatever year this is supposed to be depicted here, because you're looking at a fucking drawing of a building.
pineapple for his skills. And this was completed in 1641, perfectly. They give us this story that we have seen so often, where the first church on the exact same site was built around 1125. 899 years ago. And they give us a story of a chemist that gets guillotined just to make us think that they know all about the backstory of these buildings, where we have shown in episode 33, when you just email them about a building that was built in the 1900s, they have no clue who built it. These narratives are...
Wow, they don't know which construction company built a church? I can tell you, there was no construction company in 1125 building this fucking church. You know why? Because it was built by the church. Dipshit.
story hour, in my opinion. They hold zero truth.
Built by the Catholic Church. I guarantee you it was built by the Catholic Church. It was built by what we refer to as, it was either built by the Cistercians or it was just built by the Catholic Church. They didn't, you must not understand that, like, in, like, corporations, companies didn't really exist like they do today in the fucking 12th century, bro. The our modern idea of corporate institutions of capitalism didn't exist at this time.
They are as trustworthy as a child's bedtime story, where we are told that there was a cemetery connected to this first church, the one that was built 900 years ago. And then this cemetery just disappeared, and the old church was demolished in 1799 because they just needed an upgrade in 1799. And here's another one of those situations.
Of course they did, because their artistic vision, the people's artistic vision, had changed, and they wanted to upgrade their fucking church. This happens today, in the modern era. The Mormon churches, like not the big temples, right, but the small ones, in, like, you know, you probably have 90 of them in your city. We upgrade those all the time. We upgrade buildings and architecture all the time in the modern era, to this day. Like, I mean, they just built, like, literally the New World Trade Center, right? They just built a building so large that, according to them, you should damn near stick to the thing if you walk past it, because the One World Trade Center it is so large that it should have its own gravitational field.
Where we have these reoccurring names, with these stories, where we've seen all the Fredericks in episode 43. But here they give the reoccurring names in a different way. When they say Louis the Ninth and Louis the Eighth, where I understand that this is...
First of all, it's Louis. It is King Louis of France. It is Louis. It's not Louis. You don't even understand the difference. And first of all, these are French people you're referring to. They didn't say Louis. The name Louis is an American invention, mind you.
Possible, but we've seen it so many times. The reoccurring names are, in my opinion, exposing that these stories were created by an AI generator. It throws the same name right into the story.
You could be right. This could be AI generated because you're using Wikipedia to support your argument, and you can tell this is a fucking Wikipedia page. It has edit right here. I mean, this could be AI generated. Maybe you should open a fucking history book about this place instead of using Wikipedia to support your fucking argument.
Over and over. It's a pattern. And the AI works on patterns, where if a human wrote this story, they would just make up a new name. And I think this is why we see so many people named Henry the Ninth in these narratives from hundreds of years ago. I think it's a code. They could just say Henry the 30th, and nobody would ever question it. Just accepting this narrative.
This is, if you showed this guy that the fucking name Muhammad is literally the most common name on earth right now, he'd fucking freak out. He'd be like, oh my god, it's a lie, it's a fabrication. Our generation is a historical fabrication.
For years.
But
When
no,
I think
there's
it's
just a lot of
clearly a
errors
key
alive,
to look
bro.
deeper into these stories, these buildings and castles surrounding these characters. So the city supposedly grew too big, and the chapel was replaced, where they know that Louis the Eighth laid the cornerstone. And when you know, you know. The building's original name holds Mason, Jesuits. The architect of the new church was the Jesuit priest. So now we are made to believe.
So he freaks out about the fact that the name of the church has Jesuits in it, and then points out that it was built by a Jesuit. You're dumb. I mean, yeah, Mason, Jesuit in one word. I get why you're sketched out by that. I do. I understand, my friend. But it was built by a goddamn Jesuit, and they used, according to you, stone masonry to build the
That
thing.
the 1600s priests were also master architects. This was the first church in Paris to stop using the Gothic style and now use the Baroque style when the famous Jesuit preacher preached some of his memorable sermons in the church. All
You
documented.
know who explains why they stopped using the Gothic? You're not going to want me to point this out. It's Ewarrenon. Ewar. He explains to you the esoteric and exoteric reasons that they stopped using Gothic architecture. Not to mention, just Occam's razor. Of course they did. Their artistic vision had changed.
Of course? No. So my question is, who is this Jesuit priest architect that just knocks out palaces in the 1600s?
I could have sworn his name was right there in the article you were just reading. I could have sworn you just glossed over that.
That lasts forever. We are told that he was born in 1569 and had two brothers who both became Jesuits as well. Almost nothing is known about his early life.
Wow. 3 men with probably Catholic parents all became high-ranking priests in the Catholic Church in one of the most religiously pious eras in human history, in the era, one of the eras at least, where the Catholic Church had the most power it has ever had. Wow. So
Nothing.
crazy.
It's a big mystery, just like the mainstream narrative likes it. But don't worry, they know all about every other detail of the rest of his life. Joining the Jesuit order in 1590, when he was 21, this group, the Jesuits,
That's awesome. That's awesome. But you yourself believe that most of the historical narrative is guesswork anyway. So that stands to reason they didn't know about his childhood. He probably didn't write anything about his childhood down. Whereas, you start accomplishing things as an adult, you tend to want to document it. I mean, we do this today. Your ass has a YouTube channel dedicated to your supposed accomplishments in conspiracy theory, right? I'm doing the same thing right now.
established themselves in France in the 1560s, but were banned in 1595 after attempting to kill Henry IX. But that's okay, because they let him back in 8 years later. So this master
That part is a little strange, I'll give you that.
architect, he wasn't even the best one, where he would supposedly draw up all these kinds of buildings, no problem at all, and send them back to a superior general that would have to approve them. So we're supposed to believe a time period where we're told that the population was like 10 people. They also had all...
No, we're not told that the population was like 10 people. There were hundreds of thousands of people living in France at the time. Bro, there was more than enough people to accomplish this shit.
kinds of people just waiting around to draw up palaces. And some guy was sitting in his chair throwing master designs in the no pile. How ridiculous does this sound? Now, of course, when they pin a guy...
It doesn't. We do that today. There are architectural competitions to this day, and most of the submitted designs get thrown in the fucking trash.
to one building, there are always so many more. Here's the first one, which is still in use today. Built this one, and then he also supposedly...
Codestone. Fake masonry, or what some refer to as free masonry. This is codestone, dog. This is clay that hardens into this design. This is not some miracle. This is not some impossibility. This is shit.
built the Blois Cathedral, a cathedral that also had multiple buildings. The first one started in the 1100s. However, nothing is left of the original structure. It's just gone. And the next one starts 450 years later. Of course it does. When this one is destroyed by a storm, they get back to work in the 1680s. And then the Americans' bombardment during World War II destroys most of the glasswork in the cathedral. When we know that this sounds like there was something on the glass that told a story, possibly things that would give something away about our past.
Now you have my attention. Now you have my attention, because that is most certainly the case. Because most of these cathedrals were encoded with Argotique, with a code language, and it's all over them. You can see some of it here if you know what you're looking for. And no, this is not the markings of an energy generator. This is pagan in design. That's what, and what was in those windows was probably pagan in nature. And so it was erased. Now you have my attention, but then you're going to lose me because you're going to say some stupid bullshit. Now watch.
Things that we're not supposed to see. Thinking logically, why would the glass be broken and everything else is fine? It sounds to me like these people just went in there and broke the glass and replaced it with the new narrative. What better way to do this than to just chalk it up to a war?
Oh, he's not gonna. It's over. Holy shit! It's just over, just like that, huh? You're not gonna bring up the all money is brand new thing more than once, are you? Well, okay, fine, guy. But this is why all money is brand new. This is the real reason. It's not hidden history. It's very well documented history. The Rothschild family rose to prominence and power in the early 19th century, beginning with Mayer Amschel Rothschild, whose original surname was Bauer, in the late 1700s, who established his banking business and rapidly expanding with his 5 sons, who set up branches across Europe during the Napoleonic Wars. They set up banks in every major European city, right? Paris, London, Berlin, etc., etc. This expansion cemented their reputation as indispensable bankers for European rulers and led to the family's elevation to nobility in 1822, and their continued influence throughout the 19th century by managing large government loans and playing key roles in major financial events, such as the financing of the British purchase of the Suez Canal shares in 1875. These guys, the Rothschild family, they literally owned, at least for a time, they probably still do today, they bought, after the Napoleonic Wars, towards the end of the Napoleonic Wars, they bought the Bank of England, and they became the bankers of the British Royals, right? And then they eventually became the bankers of all European nobility, specifically the Italian nobility, who you conveniently ignore, even though there's a lot of things about them that debunk your whole Tartaria narrative, right? But this is why. Because these guys rose and created this shit, right? I mean, they didn't create paper debits and credits. They didn't create cash money. But they're the ones who brought it to its prominence today. They're also the ones trying to take it away from you and establish a cashless system. Right? And this is why. This is why. They are why all money is brand new. Fiat currency, right? This didn't become popular. The concept of fiat money, a currency without intrinsic value based solely on government decree and the public's full faith and credit, right? Again, these guys and the Rockefellers, they pushed you away from having a currency backed up by an actual currency, right? Because before this, before they rose to power and we established cash money, what did we do? Well, we bought and sold things with gold. We operated solely off gold standard. Before that, we operated solely off silver standard. And before that, we went to war with other countries over fucking salt. Okay? You can all do deeper dive than just the AI on Google, right? Because you don't want me to use AI. You'll say I'm some kind of shill, right? Oh, you can come to this website, Rothschild and Co., and they tell you it's in your face how they rose to prominence and power, how they created cash money, how they stole gold and silver standard from you, even though gold and silver are the only real stable currencies in the world. They did this on purpose, right? But it's all right here. It's all right here on a website, probably much better than Wikipedia, even though this is literal Rothschild propaganda. Right? This probably tells you a lot more than you're going to learn from looking at drawings of our past. We would never accept drawings as reliable sources of historical information, or information in general today. So why are you accepting them as semi-reliable sources of history? You can't. You can't. You have to take what is written and not what is drawn. But this is why. They're why all money is brand new. They are why all government is brand new. These people were the real power behind your American Revolution, your French Revolution, etc., etc., etc. These are the real reason we don't operate under kings and queens anymore, because they stole the power of the kings and queens. I will just like come into images for a minute here. Let me see. I don't even gotta search anything up. Look at how evil these people look. This is Jacob Rothschild, right? The former head of the family. He's dead now, thank God. But just look at how evil this guy looks. He makes Mr. Burns from The Simpsons look kind of beautiful. These people, this guy, and his great-grandfather, this guy, his 4 brothers, and his father. These are the reason that everything is brand new, according to you. These guys. It is literally that simple. It's not some great secret. Look at her doing the hidden hand here. How funny. Yeah, they're the reason, and not everything's brand new either. I mean, fiat currency was created in the 900s. United States abandoned gold standard in 71 under President Nixon, right? Right, and I mean, it's not brand new. Paper cash money is not brand new. It was established in the 15th century, bro. Yeah, the specific cash we use today is quote-unquote brand new because of these guys. Because of these guys hijacking your financial systems, hijacking your government, etc., 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 right? It's no great secret. Many people have documented this stuff. You're just being dumb. You're just making yourself look fucking stupid, right? I don't even know what else to say. I could start to now address the rest of your points, but I think I have, for the most part, just while I was watching your video. Yeah, it's just is no great secret at all. Now I'm not going to go and watch the rest of your videos because my video will end up being hours and hours long, and it just can't be. But, yeah, we have a problem here, my friend, because, I mean, I think Wooden Nichols said it best. My lunch break is a perfect name for your channel because it is very obvious that the research for your videos is done in about 30 minutes or less, right? You're not really pointing out anything that can't be debunked in 5 whole seconds. You're not pointing out anything that can't be debunked in a single fucking Google search, right? Reading the AI overview on Google. And I know you're gonna freak out over me reading what the AI wrote, like you did in your video, or claimed in your video, that all the history on Wikipedia was written by AI. Probably is. That's why you don't use Wikipedia as a source of your fucking information. You go find a physical book and you read about the topic you're trying to discuss in a book, which people have been doing forever, and which people should be doing, because there is a lot in historical archives. There's a lot to be learned from actually doing your due diligence, which you are not, sir. And I know you want to live in this pseudo-historical fantasy of ancient high technology, and I do believe there was ancient high technology. I don't believe it lasted till the fucking 1800s. I don't believe we just barely lost that stuff. I believe there is a lot to be learned from people like Graham Hancock, for example. There's not a lot to be learned from you. You are really, really, you're making an ass out of yourself, and you're making an ass out of the history of my ancestors, and your ancestors as well. If you're even a person, I think you could probably be AI, because your voice is just so monotone, and just, you don't sound like a human being. You don't. I sound like a human being. This is what a person recording themselves over a microphone sounds like. You don't sound like a person. You honestly sound like you could be using an AI generated voice, which would really ruin your credibility as much as you freak out about AI having written our history or whatever the hell, which you need to provide real, tangible evidence for the idea that humanity had artificial intelligence before the fucking, 1700s? That's another thing I want you all to address. When did your resets happen in your Tartaria hypothesis? Because I can't find a consistent answer from any of you guys. I've watched so many videos on this stuff. I've read so much about this stuff. You guys don't even ever have an answer for what the fucking mud flood was. Please tell me, somebody, one of you, please explain to me what the mud flood was and what exactly caused it, because you guys don't even have a consistent answer. You say soil liquefaction, and then you don't elaborate on what exactly caused that. Some of you say it was a comet, and then don't elaborate, and comet doesn't make sense because most of you are flat earthers, which I am too, right? So, let's be honest. If there's a firmament, there was no comet that passed by Earth and caused the mud flood. Nuclear weapons, that's all I can think of, right? If you're talking worldwide soil liquefaction events, nuclear warfare, you could pull my attention and curiosity if you started talking about that, but you guys don't. Some of you claim it was rain and dust storms that caused the mud flood, but we don't see massive country destroying soil liquefaction events in Iraq, right? And they have horrible sandstorms every single day. So what? What was the mud flood? What caused it? Who caused it? Because I know who controls our world. I know exactly who does. And their cohorts and the members of their little cult that control our world. You guys don't seem to. You guys point to the Catholic Church over and over and over again as if it's not controlled by these people and hasn't been for a long time. What? What was the mud flood? Even if you and I don't want to start some kind of beef with you. I want to call you out because I believe in the integrity of my people's history. I do not like the fact that you're trying to claim that white Europeans did not build the cathedrals, or the Gothic, or the Neoclassical, or the Norman. I don't like that at all. No sane person likes that. No one who's not blinded by false light likes what you're doing here. And I'm sure you get it in your comments all the time. You don't need me to tell you, I know that. But I'm going to. You need to be more honest. You need to be very honest with your audience from here on out. Because nothing you have put in any of your videos so far even proves anything. Let's be honest. You're not debunking human history, especially not as a whole. I mean, there are definitely instances of our history that have been semi-fabricated. There are a lot of lies in the history books, and that's not arguable. There just are. Ewar, who none of you seem to like anymore, now that he's not part of your little club, Ewar has pointed a lot of them out. The book hunters, the earth movers, etc., etc., etc. It's not this. This is not the approach. All money is brand new. Yeah, no shit, bro. No shit. The Federal Reserve was established in 1913. No fucking shit. All money is brand new. You dumbass. This is it. This is your answer. Right here. These guys rose to power and prominence. 1800s. Talk about usury. Talk about the real lies of our history. Talk about the inconsistencies in the narrative of, say, the world wars. Talk about the rise of the Rockefeller family. Talk about anything else except this Disneyland bullshit. Please. Thank you. And for anybody who happens to watch this, like, comment, subscribe, call me a schizophrenic racist in the comments because I don't believe in Tartaria, right? Do what you will, I guess. Not to quote Crowley, because I hate his ass, but, yeah. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on those notifications. I will be posting more, eventually, at least. I will be challenging these sorts of people. I will be challenging people pushing the mainstream historical and scientific narrative. I will be doing a lot in the near future. So stick around, please. Not just to support me, but to support yourself, to support and nourish your intelligence, and your soul, because that's what I really want to do here, is to show you guys real